Hunter? Could be. Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy. Hong Kong Phooey, quicker than the human eye. He's got style, a groovy style, and a vibe that just won't stop. When the going gets rough, he's super tough with a Hong Kong Phooey chop. Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy. Hong Kong Phooey, quicker than the human eye. Tick-chong, 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 wow, wow, wow.
Hey guys, I'm gonna occasionally tell y'all a little story, and then I'm gonna try to share a life lesson, maybe, or an experience, or just talk about whatever. But I'm kind of on this life lesson thing now. But I played this song because I was remembering that I have a sister that in the late '70s. She was, let's just say that we had a house, and on the bottom level, she had a sliding glass door, and somebody came in there uninvited and did things to her that he shouldn't have done. And we got a guard dog, and we were all taking the karate class and all this other stuff. It never happened again. It happened to her again later. This sister, believe it or not, she was kind of famous for a second. She was in Pretty Woman. She was in RoboCop, the first one. You know, the cartoon pops on the air, and I'll buy that for $1. And this tall blonde in a bikini says, "We had our shots." That's the one. That's my sister. She dated Dolph Lundgren. This is seriously. I got a picture that hung on my wall locker. I'll show it to you, guys, one of these days, of my sister with Dolph Lundgren's arms around her. They dated for a minute, well, a little while. She dated Alan Thicke, Robin Thicke's dad. Growing pains. Anyway, that's all irrelevant. But when we were at karate class, the owner, he had like 2, maybe 3 dojos in the Hershulus, Bedford area, the mid cities in Dallas Fort Worth, Hershulus, Bedford. And his son was a mouth. You're supposed to be, martial arts are self defense. They're not for you to walk around like a big shot. And I'm not a violent person. I'm as nice as they come. But I have a button, and if you push it, you turn it on, you're gonna pay the consequences. I don't feel pain anymore. Those receptors shut off, and violent me turns on. Anyway, long story short, that's what happened. He was pushing my buttons and kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. And I finally got tired of it, and I kicked his butt. And we were kicked out of karate for picking on the owner's son. You know, he was mouthing off. He was doing his karate and nunchucks, and I got tired of it. He was picking on my autistic brother. What's wrong with you, huh? What's wrong with you? Why don't you talk to anybody? And I was like, that's my brother. He has special needs. We're here to learn, not here to be picked on. Whatever. And I got up in his face. I said, chill, or something to that effect, because it was the late 70s, early 80s, something around there. And he pushed me, and it hurt. And he started doing all this karate crap, but I was like 4 inches taller and about 30 pounds heavier, and kicked his butt. And bloodied his nose, and he was crying, and his dad's like, that's it. I don't care if I'm losing money or not. No one hurts my son, and you get out of here. So much for all the special martial arts and whatnot, karate class, whatever. Anyway, that really happened. That's why I played Hong Kong Phooey, America's Super Dog. So much for Hong Kong, you know. I have you can teach all the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu you want, but there are some people, when you hurt them, you hurt them, and they have that switch like I have. They'll go through and they'll take more hit punches and more hitches, and all you're gonna do is make it madder and madder, and they're gonna wind up kicking your butt. You know, I'm serious. You're gonna wind up hurting somebody that you turn that switch on, and they don't feel that whatever you're doing to them, and they're gonna go right through it and just kick your butt the old-fashioned way, All They Know. It's called All They Know Judo. Yeah. Anyway, same thing happened. We had a round robin tournament in the Army, and we were a boxing tournament, and there was no weight class. It's the last guy standing, you know. And I got the final match against a guy that was about 190 pounds. Oh no, I was 190 pounds. He was like 140. He beat me. He hurt me, and I kept punching, and he got more punches in. But I stayed with it, and I won most of my matches, but I lost the final match. Basically, today's lesson is about thinking forward, taking responsibility for your actions, and thinking 3 steps ahead. I'm trying very hard to say I have an opportunity to get into a special vehicle lease program, but it involves me putting a sizable amount of money down. This month I'll be halfway to the first level. There are 3 different levels. So it's like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 you put down. You get into the lease program, and if you put the $5,000 down, you can choose any one of the vehicles on the list, and you only have to pay between $300 and $400 a month for the vehicle while you have it. Good thing about leasing a vehicle, you know, I'm 55. You know, I'm not going to own it. I'm 55. I don't want to own an old car anymore. We have an old truck. That's great. But I want a reliable piece of transportation, and that means I got to get full coverage, and I've got to make a payment on just to be involved in the program, and then after so many miles, you turn the car in. That's how they get their money back. They can still recoup their money. You know, a vehicle depreciates the moment it leaves the car a lot. But anyway, so right now I'm thinking 3 steps ahead, and the computer itself is the problem with our truck, other than the fact that some components are dirty. So I'm going to go to the store today and think ahead, and I'm going to put a transmission additive and a fuel system additive in my vehicle. Yesterday I put a oil additive. Hopefully the sticky deposits and whatnot will be cleaned up. Thinking ahead, it'll take care of the truck. And there's some bad traffic here in Laredo lately because of all the crackdown on people, migrants and stuff. Anyway, what I'm getting at is you have to think ahead. Okay, if I do this and this, is this going to affect this down the road? You know, when you vote for a guy that has a track record of being a crook and a criminal, what's going to happen down the road? When you vote for somebody that's known to be a liar, what's going to happen down the road? Now look where we're at. I'm using that as an example. I'm not sitting here harping on the whole political thing. I told you guys I didn't want to do that. So try to think ahead. Yesterday I talked about owning your own problems and not blaming everyone else. But now I'm talking about thinking ahead. What can I do now to prevent that down the road? And I kind of did my mom a favor because obviously this guy's karate dojo chain was bogus. You know, all I knew was my father taught me how to throw a punch when I was a little kid. Taught me how to cover myself and how to throw a punch when I was a kid. And he was picking on my brother. My brother is special. Was special. Is special. He's the only one left. And I defended him because he's my brother. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. Anyway, you gotta, if you want to make sure that everything works out down the road, you need to start thinking ahead down the road. Well, basically, that's about it for today, guys. I'm not always going to be, you know, I don't want to bore you with these long 30 to 40 minute videos. And so I'll try to keep it at 10 minutes, 12, 15 minutes or less. So today's video is going to be about 10 minutes long. If you like what I had to say, please encourage me, and I'll keep on doing what I did to get encouraged. And if you don't like what I had to say and you think I made a fool out of myself, tell me, and I'll pay attention to it, and I'll work on it next time. But in the interim, please subscribe, and let's vote straight Democrat. Get these crooks out of office. And Jesus loved you, and He knew your name when He was on the cross. God bless you guys. I love you all very much. See you tomorrow.